Someone recently left a comment in one of my videos saying that they wanted a creepy camping story. So I found this story and I hope you like it. This girl said that when she was around 12, she had a group of friends and they would always do sleepovers. They would all take turns, so like whenever it was another time for a sleepover, they would be a certain person's house and they would keep going down the list. So a new girl came to school and she joined her group of friends. However, she could never host sleepovers because her mom was like disabled, and in the middle of the night she would scream and it was scary for them. They did tell her that they can just skip over her and she can continue going to everybody else's sleepovers, but Samantha really wanted to host a sleepover. So Samantha thought, what if I hosted our sleepover at my aunt and uncle's house? But instead of being indoors, we can have like a camp out and we could stay outside. Obviously they all agreed because it sounded like so much fun. So Samantha's aunt and uncle live out in the middle of nowhere, so they did have to ask for their parents' permission, and thankfully they agreed to let them go camp out. So the day comes and all the girls are at Samantha's house getting ready, getting flashlights and tents, and that's when Samantha's older brother came into the house. The girl that's telling the story didn't know that Samantha even had an older brother, but she could tell that all the other girls had a big crush on her older brother. I guess because of that, the older brother started talking to the girl that's telling us the story, and he was asking them what they were doing. So she starts telling him that they're gonna go camp out at his aunt and uncle's house, and she says that when she says that, his face, it looked like he was concerned. He then asks her, is there an adult that's gonna go with you guys? And before she could even answer, he just looked at his sister and said, hey, is dad gonna go with you guys when you go camping? But Samantha came and grabbed the girl's hand and pushed her away from him and said, leave my friends alone, without even answering him, and he left the room. So as they were going outside to get in the car to go, she sees that her brother is out there too, and when he sees them, he gets closer to all the girls and says, hey, when you guys go spend the night at my aunts and uncles, please be very careful and do not leave that house at nighttime. And one of the girls is like, what do you mean? We're going out there to camp out. We're gonna stay the night outside. That was the whole point of us going. And then he said something to them very strange. He told them, you guys should not stay outside because out there on our aunts and uncles' land is the devil. And all the girls were like, what the hell? But the girls telling us this story was like, the devil? So you're telling me that the devil lives at your aunts and uncles' land? And they all started laughing and making fun of him. She says that she didn't mean to say that and for them to start laughing at him, but he was like, okay, well, whatever, just please take care of yourselves, but I've warned you. She says that on their way to the girls' aunts and uncles' house, she wanted to ask the girls what they thought about his warning, but before she could ask, they all started talking about how cute he was and all the crushes they had on him. But she mentions that when she gets to the aunts and uncles home, she started feeling weird. Like even when she got there, the wind was eerie, like something felt negative there. So at this point, they had been inside the aunts and uncles home and they had the chimney going and the living room looked comfortable, and all of the girls were like, well, what if we stay in here? Like, it's so cold outside, why are we gonna stay out there when we can stay in here by the chimney? But Samantha was like, no, we worked so hard to get the tents and the flashlights and the fire, so we're gonna camp out outside, and they couldn't convince her otherwise. So she says that they go out there, they set up the tents, the fire, and it wasn't that bad even though the wind was still going crazy. They had a good time for the first few hours, and around 9 p.m. the aunt comes out and gives them hot chocolate, and then a little while later they end up going to bed. So the following is what she remembers from that night. She says that she was asleep and she got woken up very quietly by one of her friends. She says that when she finally opens her eyes, her friend is telling her that she needs to be quiet, gets close to her and whispers in her ear, you need to get up just in case we have to make a run for it. She had no idea what the hell was going on, but when she looked around the tent, she can see one of the other friends crying hysterically but covering her mouth, and Samantha was at the zipper of the tent looking outside. She remembers Samantha telling her and the girls that they need to calm down and soon it was gonna leave. She said because she didn't understand what the hell was going on, she walked towards Samantha to look out of that tent, and she says that her friends tried to stop her but they couldn't. She wanted to see what the hell they were looking at. She says that when she got close to Samantha, who was looking out, Samantha started pointing to like a very dark corner near her aunt's and uncle's home, but that when she looked, she didn't see anything, and she tells her, there's nothing there, what are you looking at? And Samantha's like, look again. And she looks again and sees a very dark figure almost as tall as the house in that very darkened spot. She said that it looked like it was almost trying to see inside the house, and at one moment she actually saw horns like a deer When she saw that, she was like, oh, it's an animal, because she was trying to like be realistic, like what if it's an animal, you know, it's not the devil. However, in that moment, she saw where this thing was like almost smelling the air, and when it was smelling the air, it just turned its head to where they were in the tent. In a split second, this thing just jumped onto a tree, and they could tell that it was jumping from tree to tree by the sounds of the ruffling of the leaves. In that moment, they all decided to run to the door and start banging it so that the aunt and uncle can come out. She says that she was so scared, she was looking behind her, making sure nothing was coming out. However, it was weird how fast the aunt and uncle opened that door, almost like they were waiting for them to come inside. She explains that even their spare bedroom was ready for them to go in there and fall asleep. She says that everything was so strange that she remembers it almost like if maybe it was a dream, but the four girls couldn't have had the same dream at the same time. She said that they managed to fall asleep in that bedroom, and out of nowhere, like an hour or two later, they all woke up at the same time, and they all heard the same sounds, like if something huge was jumping from tree to tree. She said that after that they didn't hear anything again, but even that was scary, because either this thing is staying still so that we don't hear it, or what if it's peeking into the windows of the house like they had seen it do. She said luckily their parents came for them very early in the morning, and after a year, Samantha actually moved away. She says that sometimes she tries to justify it maybe being an animal, but there was no way an animal was as tall as the house. She doesn't know what to make of it, and now regrets not taking that brother's warning of not staying outside of that house. Anyway, what do you guys think? This story was from Relatos de la Noche. I'm gonna add a screenshot here and the timestamp where you guys can listen to it in Spanish. There is a lot more information in Spanish that I had to take out because this story is a little bit long.